Hello, everyone, and welcome to Super Mario Bros. Wonder Part 12. So, we're still going up the waterfalls here. The Sugar Star Trail across the night sky. I forget what this one even is.
You know, swimming up the waterfall would be more impressive if we hadn't already experienced the joy of wall jumping up frozen waterfalls.
I thought you were about to get into like a personal lesson. It was like, yeah, don't do that. I tried it once, and all it amounted to was a couple of broken bones.
Well, that too, but...
So you actually did try it, is what I'm hearing. Okay.
No, but it probably would result in broken bones, yes. But like, you know, we've already had the ice flower, which lets you walk on water, skate on water, wall jump.
Yeah, it was like there was a
waterfalls.
galaxy challenge where you had to wall jump between two frozen waterfalls with the ice flower.
Yeah. And that kind of just blows swimming up waterfalls out of the water, you know.
Yeah, because it's ice.
You can stop collecting the little things, by the way. You're at max.
So those like star-shaped things that are clearly also based on star bits.
They're like purple pennies or
yeah,
purple
like-
dimes, really.
Well, no, not the purple coins, but like the enemy that is they're based.
The revolving enemies. You mean?
Yeah, the revolving. Yeah, they're the sugar star or whatever. So those and star bits are both supposedly based on some sort of Japanese candy that I had never heard of before.
I was gonna say they do look candy-esque.
There's another thing that has them that I can't quite.
Well, I mean, I don't know about Japanese candy. They look kind of like everlasting gobstoppers to me.
I was thinking of nerds if they were all uniformly designed.
Oh, another Wonka product.
That's true. Actually, I didn't think about that. Wait, are nerds Wonka?
Yes,
I think they are, yes.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay, I never really paid attention to that. I just knew them as nerds.
I don't think anyone actually pays as much attention to the Wonka candy brand as the Wonka candy brand wishes they did. But
yeah. I mean, most of them are kind of like C tier candy, to be honest. Like,
yeah,
the only one that I think, at least in my area, that people really went for was the Fun Dip. And that was basically it.
What was the Fun Dip again?
So it's like a pile of concentrated sugar, and then there was a candy stick
Okay.
that you would lick, and then put it into the pile of concentrated sugar, and then the sugar would stick onto the candy stick, and then you would then eat the candy stick like a popsicle.
So it's like how anteaters eat ants.
Kinda, yeah.
Or
yeah, but you know, I fucking hate Fun Dip. It is way too sugar.
I thought you were gonna say it's way too fun. Like I'm not for this.
Now, I mean, it's like it is like Ted said, concentrated sugar. But it's actually more sugary tasting than if you were to lick your finger, dip it in a vat of actual sugar, and lick the sugar off your finger.
Like the appeal of it is if you just like putting granulated sugar in your mouth. That's the reason why I didn't like what was it, Pixie Sticks? I'm not sure if they were an official brand or anything like that, but Pixie Sticks was literally just you put this sugar in your tongue and that's it.
Yeah,
that is literally it.
It's the same sort of. Did you just miss the thing?
Yeah, I missed it the first time I did it too.
You have to play this level twice anyway, so...
Yeah, because there's a alternate flagpole for if you get the thing, and an alternate one for if you don't.
Oh, I see.
So
Fair.
you have to replay it anyway. So believe
Fair
it or
enough.
not, Ryan is actually saving us time here, or maybe not saving us time, but more so not losing us time.
Well, I mean, ideally, we would be editing out the second run anyway, so not saving or gaining any time either way.
This is one of those levels where you really just have to go with the flow. Your biggest enemy is your reflex.
I can't believe that rail grinding has made its way into the Super Mario Brothers series at last.
Could you imagine?
I know, what a ripoff of Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah. Bastards.
You see, I love that you said that, because fucking everyone associates the rail grinding with Sonic the Hedgehog, but a lot of the cool parts of rail grinding that Sonic would eventually adopt as its new normal after they gave up on making it actually feel like rail grinding was stuff from Ratchet and Clank.
I think Shadow the Hedgehog was like the first game to do it.
Well, what
Yes,
did
it
they
was.
add from Ratchet and Clank to the rail grinding? Because SA2 was the first one to have it, and it focused more on like jumping on and off rails.
Yeah, you had to like manually aim your jumps and balance yourself while you were on the rails in Sonic Adventure 2, and they ditched that in favor of building rail grinding sequences around like 3-tiered groups of rails.
That was in Sonic Heroes.
I would say it started in Heroes, and Heroes was still like SA2 to a point, but it was way worse.
Well, SA2 I thought was mostly for the sense that not SA2, sorry, Heroes. I thought they had like the 3 rails so that you could have all 3.
The issue with the rail grinding in Heroes was that they tried to have a rail switching button, but they didn't do the thing where you jumped between them. They just sent you careening to the left or right in a weird sort of jank-ass horizontal launch that quite often clipped through the rail next to you and sent you flailing into the abyss. So
I still to this day will judge that this is a legitimate skill issue. I can swap rails no problem in SA2.
We're not talking here. We're not talking SA2. We're talking Heroes. We're talking
Sonic Heroes, instead of having you do a measured flip jump like Shadow the Hedgehog does.
Oh, you're talking about the thing you do over and over to speed up. Okay. Yeah.
No, not that. There's a rail switching button in Sonic Heroes that's supposed to hop you over to the rail next to you. But instead of doing a flip jump onto the rail that Shadow does in Shadow the Hedgehog, or Sonic does in Sonic Generations, you just sort of get launched sideways.
You snap
toward the rail. Yeah, you snap toward the rail, except it doesn't always work, and sometimes you just clip through the rail and fly off into the abyss. It's
just so, and again, I think it just has to do with the overtuned controls, because because SA2 did it just fine.
Did SA2 have a horizontal launch?
SA2 had a snap because like especially for like Final Rush.
It's kind of janky looking, but
it does work.
I understand that a lot of people get frustrated with the rail swapping in SA2, and I understand that because it's weird to explain how to do it. It's mostly like once you know how it works, it's consistent, but it's not necessarily like the most intuitive thing to learn.
You know, I never actually did that. I always just jumped onto the rail next to me.
You lose a lot more speed doing it that way, and it's a lot more like fiddly. But you can do it that way for sure.
But like when Sonic eventually got rail grinding right again, it just copied the rail grinding that Ratchet and Clank used. In other words, no speed variation at all, and you do a flip jump from left to right, and all the rail grinding is based around those 3 rails next to each other at perfect equidistant, like, wow, equidistant, so grown up.
Be proud of it. Like equidistance. Hey everybody, welcome back to Mario Wonder Commentary.
I'm the only one here who got that quote, huh?
No.
Yes. I'm sad. Yes?
Wait, the answer was yes.
Yes. It's Doctor Who.
Oh, I don't watch Star Trek.
Well, anyway. Wait, what is the Bowser Castle ship doing?
Every time you get a Wonder Seed, one of those Cloud Piranha plants goes away.
Oh, fucking hell. I just realized. Sonic tangent. Bowser's finally created a Death Egg.
Bowser is the Death Egg.
Yeah, he is the Death Egg.
Like, imagine the Death Egg where it's not just Eggman's face, that is Eggman.
Yeah, they just start talking to the ship.
The old Archie continuity could probably have gotten away with that if they thought to. What with Robo Robotnik and all.
No, it was also kind of like the sort of the impression that was given in like in the earliest issues of IDW, the Metal Virus arc, actually, when Robotnik gets his memories back. And he is about to unleash the metal virus on this village, but it's coming through his ship. But the ship looks like his face, obviously. and he speaks through a PA, so it looks like the ship is talking to the village right before he throws up on all of them.
Huh.
Gross.
Gross, but still, metal virus is terrifying.
Yeah, it was a good concept.
I think it was great until the ending.
Well,
What happened in the ending that people didn't like?
They had to go back to status quo.
Yeah,
they did it in the most rushed fucking way they could possibly do it.
That is kind of the issue with the IDW comics issue, but like because it's supposed to be canon to the games, but the games are like necessarily more important, and obviously the Japanese writers over in Sega of Japan do not want to have to deal with negotiating every plot twist IDW introduces. IDW isn't really allowed to introduce anything with real staying power.
Like, outside of new characters, anyway, but...
Well, new characters can just be shoved in the closet whenever the writers don't care about them, so...
True enough, but that's as far-reaching as it goes.
Yeah.
They really can't do any sort of permanent change to any character or setting or...
I mean, I guess that makes sense, because if you're reading, like, who wants to be playing Sonic 2D game number 1, and then things are one way, and then you play Sonic 2D game number 2, and things are drastically different, and why? Because the comic said that you didn't read said so.
The problem is that the comics at that point just don't have stakes, and at some point just gets pretty dull.
I know that that's a problem people have with the MCU now that things have gotten much, much, much more wide-reaching, is that, like, for a good while, I'd say, like, right up through Infinity War, I would say, you didn't really have to watch everything to understand what was going on. And now the idea for me, like, because I haven't kept up with MCU since Endgame, the idea of going back to watch some of this stuff and not having any idea what's going on is a wee bit intimidating. I don't.
Well, I mean, there's having to watch everything, and then there's not getting any satisfaction if you watch everything. There's a balance to be found there, and I think that the IDW comics in Sonic's case aren't really achieving that balance. It's doubly a problem, though, because the fans of the comic, who are, necessarily the market for the IDW comics, the fans of the comic, came from the Archie comics. And the Archie comics, for as wild and crazy as some of that shit got, they at least, had stuff going on.
Well, they also could do whatever the hell they want, which some of those authors took fairly liberally. It's just like, okay, I can do whatever the hell I want, so I'm gonna do whatever the hell Ken Penders.
So the conversation I would think that stems from that is it an IDW problem or is it a Sega problem that the IDW comics could, outside of interesting character moments, are low stakes, if any, because of just how safe they have to play it, or because of the status quo that they have to reset to at the end of every major arc.
Well,
because I get it. I see it from time to time. Not that I'm actively looking for it, but the Archie versus IDW, as if the argument entirely lays on the fault of IDW itself and not the mandates they have to follow. And is it really so much an IDW issue, or is it because Sega won't let them stretch their arms?
Well, every Sonic comic is an IDW issue now.
Yes.
See, I stole that joke from Lewis, who made that same joke 15 minutes ago. Yeah.
So long ago.
I know.
Okay, so...
Ryan, no, this is strictly unoptimal until you get at least half of them. Ryan, what are you doing?
I don't
no.
care.
Your economy is awful. Ugh.
Well,
shake my head.
He's getting new stuff anyway, so...
Well,
What
no,
else is
so,
he
but he
gonna
could be
spend
paying 20 coins for this new stuff instead of 10 coins. All right? The lack of financial responsibility in this channel frankly disgusts me.
Okay.
It's time for another music level.
Oh.
Oh yeah, the fact that you can unlock this level like halfway through the game is pretty... Honestly, this is your first run through. I'm surprised you found that many that quickly. All things considered. Like, it took me a pretty long time to find some of these secrets.
Someone like I've been playing Mario games since I was like 3 years old.
I mean, still, I figured you'd lose at least a few of them.
You know, I want to mention that we spend so much time in elephant form in this playthrough that finding opportunities for good thumbnails has been actually kind of a difficult step in the process.
I think at that point, why focus on the character and focus on the stage?
Yeah, you can make a great thumbnail out of the piranha plants, for example.
I think we already did that, though.
Ooh.
Oops.
Oh,
There we go.
shit.
Too bad. That's thumbnail right there. Fuck, it's so easy. Also, why the Mario? This is a conversation we've had before, but I have to stress, even Mario Wonder, why the fuck they still use lives? like what's the purpose?
this is something that I agree on dramatically. Like, why? What's the point? Like, the other game that I think of, like, Kirby held on to lives way longer than it should, and even that game got rid of them in Forgotten Land.
I kind of wish that games would do more, like, customizable difficulty stuff. Because I've seen that in quite a few games by now. And it's always great when it happens.
Well, Crash 4 is an immediate example. That gave you a modern mode and a retro mode. And the only difference between the two is that one had lives and the other did not.
Well, yeah, there's that. But I'm talking about, like, difficulty customization with multiple options. Like, yeah, you can decide whether or not you have lives. Maybe you can decide even how many lives you start with, but you can also decide other individual parts of the game's difficulty challenge. For example, Circle of the Moon has a casual mode and a normal retro mode, and the difference between the two is
Curse of the Moon.
Curse of the Moon, right? I keep getting those confused.
How dare you get those two names confused?
I mean,
How could you?
one's a different game, the other's the other game.
Next, you're going to tell me you get Harmony of Dissonance and Harmony of Despair confused.
I would never.
Can you even tell me which one is which?
Yeah, Harmony of Distance is the GBA game. The second one that has Juice Belmont. Harmony of Despair is the HD one, which doesn't work when you're trying to do local.
You see, here's the thing. I can't know if you're right or not because I don't know what the fuck.
Well, too bad for you.
I know that both of those games exist, but I can't.
I was actually watching our Harmony of Despair playthrough again last night, so I know which one is which out of those two, and John is absolutely right. Ugh. We still haven't continued that, and it's still marked as on hold. I should probably fix that one. Okay, so... what was I saying? Oh yeah, Curse of the Moon. It has retro mode and casual mode. Casual mode gets rid of lives and also gets rid of knockback, right? But retro mode, you know, keeps the knockback, but it also keeps the lives. I would love to be able to keep the knockback and not have the lives. You know?
Yeah, I see what you mean.
So just having like a custom options for every for like every aspect of difficulty is a neat feature, and the genre that's been doing that a hell of a lot lately is actually CRPGs, Western RPGs like Baldur's Gate 3 and the Pathfinder games. They've had that or added that in an update in pretty much every game that I've played lately, and it's beautiful.
Sorry for interrupting. What does the C in CRPG stand for again?
Computer.
Computer. Okay.
Technically, every RPG is a computer RPG, but we're past that point.
That's the kind of logic that folks will use to say, well, technically every game is an RPG because you're playing the role of some person.
What role do you play in Tetris, John?
The blocks.
The genre distinction comes from a time when RPGs on PCs and RPGs on consoles were very different. People tended to associate console RPGs mostly with Final Fantasy and shit like that. when obviously something like Baldur's Gate is like redonkulously different from that in terms of gameplay loop and flow.
Yeah, I mean, the whole like I agree that having a separate word for them is probably important because again, saying that something like Baldur's Gate and Shin Megami Tensei are the same genre
holy hell.
is a little disingenuous. Oh, the drill power-up's my favorite power-up in the game. I love this thing.
This is neat. I like this. I like this design, too.
Yeah, so it's like the drill power-up from Mario Galaxy, only good. It's also a really fun combination with the super jump power-up because you hold down the down button, the crouch, to charge up the super jump. But that counts even when you're underneath the ground with the drill. So you can
just shoot right out. That's
yeah,
neat.
so you effectively get a charge while moving, which is so much fun. We're probably not going to see that because Ryan really likes the cap power-up, but that's like my favorite combination in the game. It adds a flow to Mario that you don't see as much unless if you're like you feel like a speedrunner playing it.
Being able to drill in and like cling to the ceiling is neat. I like that.
Yeah, I love it too. It's almost like one of those things where it's like, I forget who said this at one point, but I remember watching a Let's Play or something where the Let's Player mentioned that Nintendo games, like you'll have entire indie games that are based around one specific gameplay idea. And then you'll have Nintendo games where they'll have one really clever gameplay idea and then be just like done with it after 20 seconds.
Yeah, I think that was a philosopher Aristotle that said that.
Yeah, philosopher Aristotle once said you didn't expect the mix-up, get owned nude. Aristotle to Socrates, 1000 BCE.
Is that on a plaque written in a museum somewhere?
Did those two even live in the same time period? Hang on.
Socrates? Oh, God. One of them's not even real, for the record.
Aristotle was not a contemporary of Socrates. There, Google said it. It was first thing in the result.
Oh, so you're just going to believe everything you read on the internet, Lewis?
Is that an AI-generated answer?
He studied under Plato at the latter's academy for 20 years. Aristotle treats Socrates without the bias of Xenophon and Plato, who had an emotional tie with Socrates. No, actually, that's from Wikipedia.
Did any of you guys ever watch The Good Place?
What was that again?
The Good Place is it's a TV show that came out like in like 2018, 2017, something like that. And effectively, the premise of the show is a girl who was supposed to go to hell wound up in heaven by accident. So she's trying to pretend to be a better person so that she doesn't get caught. And so at one point, she's learning philosophy lessons from one of the people who's in heaven. And she's like, okay, so who gave Socrates the right to talk about all this stuff anyway? And then the guy goes, Plato, he just went over this. Yeah, but anyway, really, really good show. You should definitely watch it. Also, don't look anything up about it because it's one of those shows that has a twist at the end of the first season, but it's like a good twist and not just a twist just to be a twist.
So naturally, everyone, that's like that's
what everybody will talk about if you look
yeah.
about. It's like one of those things where if you ever try to get somebody to play Ghost Trick, you have to be like, okay, you got to play Ghost Trick, but you can't look up anything related to Ghost Trick because then you'll find it out. You'll find out what's cool about it. And
what do you mean all the interesting parts of Undertale have been spoiled for you already?
Yeah. Just like how you've never heard how you've already heard all the jokes from Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Undertale. That must be one of those fancy CRPGs you're talking about.
Well, you know what the perfect cure for that is, Ted. Monty Python's The Life of Brian. Watch that instead. It's actually better.